What if I told you the reason you crave an ice-cold Coke on a hot day isn't really about the taste? What if Coca-Cola has spent over 130 years mastering psychological tricks that make us buy, drink, and even emotionally connect with a simple bottle of soda? Today, we're diving deep into the secret marketing strategies of Coca-Cola, the genius psychology, billion-dollar campaigns, and timeless branding moves that turned a sugary drink into the most recognized product in the world. This isn't just about soda. It's about how Coca-Cola hacked our brains, shaped global culture, and became the most successful marketing machine in history. In 1886, Dr. John Pemberton, a pharmacist in Atlanta, created a syrupy mixture meant as medicine. He sold it at his pharmacy's soda fountain for 5 cents a glass. But here's the twist. Coca-Cola wasn't born a global giant. It was a struggling formula sold in just one small store. Enter Asa Candler, the man who would transform Coca-Cola. He wasn't a doctor or a chemist. He was a marketer. Candler bought the formula for just $2,300 and launched one of the most aggressive marketing campaigns of the 19th century. His tricks, free samples, coupons for a free glass of Coke, and plastering the Coca-Cola logo on every available surface. Calendars, clocks, posters, even bookmarks. He understood one thing. If people see your product everywhere, and if they try it once, they'll remember it. By 1900, Coca-Cola was no longer medicine. It was a lifestyle. And that transformation was entirely because of branding, not the drink itself. Here's Coca-Cola's first real secret. They've never just sold soda. They sell emotions. Think about it. Coca-Cola ads rarely talk about taste. Instead, they show smiling families at picnics, friends on road trips, or young couples falling in love. They attach Coca-Cola to the feeling of happiness, refreshment, and togetherness. In fact, one of their slogans in 1929 was, "The pause that refreshes." Notice how it's not about sweetness or carbonation or even ingredients. It's about an emotional state. Psychologists call this emotional branding, tying a product to positive life moments. That's why Coca-Cola became more than just a drink. It became a symbol of joy. One of Coca-Cola's cleverest marketing moves was keeping the price of a Coke at just 5 cents for over 70 years. From 1886 to the 1950s, you could always get a Coke for a nickel. Why? Because Coca-Cola's owners knew consistency builds trust. Even when inflation rose, they forced bottlers and distributors to maintain the 5-cent price. The result? Generations of Americans grew up with the idea that Coca-Cola was affordable, dependable, and always within reach. It wasn't just a drink, it was part of daily life. This made Coca-Cola not just a brand, but a ritual. And rituals are much harder to break than habits. One of Coca-Cola's most brilliant and secret marketing wins was hijacking Christmas. Before the 1930s, Santa Claus was often drawn as a tall, thin figure wearing green or brown. But Coca-Cola wanted to connect their drink with winter cheer. So in 1931, they hired illustrator Haddon Sundblom to create a jolly red-suited Santa holding a Coke. This version of Santa was warm, friendly, and instantly iconic. The ads ran for decades, and soon the world's image of Santa Claus became the Coca-Cola version. Think about that for a second. Coca-Cola didn't just sell soda. They reshaped one of the biggest holidays in the world to fit their brand. During World War II, Coca-Cola made a promise. Every American soldier, anywhere in the world, would be able to buy a Coke for just 5 cents. The company built bottling plants across Europe and Asia, sending Coke to battlefields. This wasn't just about profit, it was brand psychology, tying Coke to patriotism, comfort, and home. After the war ended, those bottling plants stayed. Suddenly, Coca-Cola wasn't just an American drink, it was a global empire. Here's another trick. Coca-Cola never confuses its audience. The logo you see today is almost identical to the one from the 1880s. That script font? Untouched. The red and white color scheme? Never changed. And the bottle, that curved hourglass design introduced in 1915, became so iconic that even in the dark, people knew it was a Coke. That's called brand consistency, and it's one of Coca-Cola's greatest psychological weapons. When something looks familiar, the brain trusts it more. Coca-Cola used that to build an empire of trust. In 1985, Coca-Cola made what is now called the biggest marketing mistake in history. They launched New Coke, a reformulated version of their soda meant to taste sweeter and compete with Pepsi. What happened? Customers revolted. People hoarded the original Coke, wrote angry letters, and even staged protests demanding the old formula back. But here's the secret twist. This so-called failure ended up strengthening Coca-Cola's brand. Why? Because it reminded the world that Coca-Cola wasn't just a drink, it was an emotional symbol. People weren't addicted to the flavor. They were addicted to the idea of Coke, the memories and the feelings it represented. When Coca-Cola brought back the classic formula just 3 months later, sales skyrocketed. To this day, some believe it wasn't a failure at all, but a carefully orchestrated marketing trick to remind people how much they loved the original. Whether true or not, it worked. Coca-Cola doesn't just advertise, they embed themselves into culture. From sponsoring the Olympic Games since 1928 to being the official drink of the FIFA World Cup, Coca-Cola made sure their logo was tied to the biggest global events. This wasn't random. Sports represent passion, unity, and national pride. By attaching themselves to these moments, Coca-Cola made people subconsciously link their product with the world's happiest celebrations. This is called cultural branding, and Coca-Cola perfected it. Have you ever noticed how often Coca-Cola shows up in movies, TV shows, and even music videos? That's not an accident. Coca-Cola spends millions on product placement, making sure their bottles and logos appear in scenes where characters are happy, cool, or relaxed. And sometimes they've gone even further. In the 1950s, a marketer claimed he used subliminal messaging, flashing the words "Drink Coca-Cola" during a movie for a fraction of a second. While this experiment was later debunked, the idea itself cemented Coca-Cola's reputation for being ahead of the curve in psychological marketing. The truth is, even without subliminals, Coca-Cola mastered visual dominance. If you see it everywhere, your brain simply accepts it as part of daily life. In 2011, Coca-Cola launched one of its most successful modern campaigns, Share a Coke. Instead of the usual logo, Coke bottles featured popular first names: Sarah, Michael, David, Emily. The idea was simple. People love seeing their own name. This campaign turned a regular soda into a personal gift. People bought Coke bottles just to find their name or to give to friends. Social media exploded with photos, and sales shot up for the first time in a decade. The secret here is personalization marketing. When a product feels like it's made for you, it's no longer just a product. It becomes part of your identity. And Coca-Cola tapped into that perfectly. Coca-Cola has always known the power of music and celebrities. From using Ray Charles and Aretha Franklin in ads, to sponsoring hit songs like "I'd Like to Buy the World a Coke" in the 1970s. Coca-Cola made sure its brand felt cool, young, and relevant. They didn't just sponsor celebrities. They made Coke part of the soundtrack of people's lives. That's why even today, you'll see Coca-Cola collaborating with pop stars, influencers, and global icons. The trick? Tie the brand to the energy of youth. Because as long as young people drink Coke, the brand stays alive forever. So what keeps Coca-Cola at the top, even in 2025, when people are drinking less soda and more health-conscious drinks? The answer: Coca-Cola doesn't just sell Coke anymore. They've quietly bought up brands like Sprite, Fanta, Smart Water, Dasani, Powerade, Minute Maid, and even healthier teas and juices. But notice something. Even when you drink a different product, the Coca-Cola logo is never far away. They've built a marketing empire that goes beyond soda, but always circles back to the Coca-Cola brand. And through it all, their secret has remained the same. They don't sell drinks, they sell feelings. Happiness, togetherness, celebration, nostalgia, youth, and identity. That's the genius of Coca-Cola. So the next time you see that red and white logo, remember, it's not just a soda. It's over a century of psychological tricks, emotional branding, and cultural dominance carefully designed to make you want to sip. Coca-Cola isn't just the world's most famous drink, it's the world's greatest marketing story. What do you think? Are these strategies brilliant or manipulative? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more deep dives into the world's biggest brands.